Good morning. I'm Denise Dryden here doing my weekly informative sort of what's out there, what are we seeing, and what can we talk about. And first of all, I want to thank you for signing on, for watching this, and maybe for subscribing and passing it around so that this can start to build some momentum as I go along. Maybe after 5 years of doing this, right? Okay, so in 2015, 16, and early 17, I started working with transformational presence. Presence is the concept of being able to hold yourself intact when things are going on around us, right? So I thought you can go back and revisit those because they're in the archives, both on YouTube and on my my Facebook channel. However, for right now, I think it's a really good time to go back and revisit presence, because what we're looking at is a series of energetic disturbances, whether it's solar flares or it's astrological influences, but there's something that's invisible that's going on that's causing us a lot of angst and uneasiness, right? We are releasing old constrictions that, or not necessarily old, but constrictions that have lasted for the last 2 years of holding us tight, whether it's masks, whether it's limitations for how we are around other people. And we are also dismantling our old structures. We're seeing things that used to work really well, like the travel industry, the financial systems, the education systems, the medical systems, starting to reevaluate what works and what doesn't work any longer. And what we're going to do is we're going to create our future based on what it is that we actually see during all of this time, right? So if we're creating our future based on how we hold it right now, then presence becomes one of the most important things that we can talk about. So when I'm talking about presence, I'm talking about the condition of being present, right? When you can bring all of yourself into the present. I went through the dictionary and looked up a few definitions for you. It's when we're in attendance, like present, you say, I'm here, Denise Dryden, yep, present in the classroom. It's in the vicinity of, it means that I am here, wherever this conversation is, I'm in that vicinity and holding myself. It is an established position of power or a role, which is that I'm going to hold my presence in this family, in this relationship, in this job. The ability to project a sense of ease or self-assurance. In other words, when I hold presence here on the camera, what it is saying that I am very comfortable talking with you, right? So when we go to the word present, it's a moment or period of time that is perceptible, that isn't future and isn't past. It's right now, right? So when we are present, we are holding the right now, and the action is happening right now. So when we're looking at this, whether it is attention, undivided attention, like I'm not going to look around, I'm going to keep holding contact with the screen to make sure that you and I are connecting, right? It's also holding time and space open, which is whatever happens during this 10, 15-minute presentation is what's going to happen, right? And I'm modeling trust, that whatever it is that I'm doing, I know that it's okay, and if it isn't, it's all right, right? So when we are creating presence, it starts with ourselves. It starts in our body. It starts with calming our system, our nervous system down. It's taking our mind and instead of having it jumping all over the place, bringing it into a place where it can hold, right? Where we ground and where we hold open, right? That this, whatever it is that comes in, I'm going to hold. I'm going to do my best. I'm going to show up, and I'm going to be completely present. What this is actually is an open loop system. It isn't closed loop, which is I'm going to hold this and I'm going to control what's going to happen on everything. It's holding it open and saying, I'm going to show up and be present, and whatever happens, create something new, create something new, create something new, until we are expanding outward what it is that we're trying to create, right? So when we are doing this with others, we're doing it with the child that's in front of us. We're doing it with the partner that's with us. We're doing it with a friend when we're having one-on-one, even if it's on the phone, to be able to hold that presence and feel what's going on. When we're doing this with a colleague. So what it is it's calm and it's focused attention. It's being present to notice and gather and inform yourself, like, what else is going on in between the words? What else am I feeling? And coming at it from a neutral position and from a neutral perspective. So this is where we tune in, right? We completely tune in. We expand our systems and we listen with every part of our attention. And this is also where we are impeccable with what we heard and see and what we're going to repeat out there. So what I'm doing is sort of like laying over, maybe it's the 4 agreements way, maybe it's the 4-fold way. But these are ways that when we hold all of them, when we get to presence, these are the core pieces. So what we're doing is we're holding something to be open, and we're not looking for proof of something repetitive that's happened in the past. Like, oh yeah, just wait till she says this, then she's going to ask me this question, right? And you let go of that, right? And you're not making an association with the past, nor are you making an association with the future. You're not future tripping and jumping like, oh, as soon as she says this, then I have to do this, then I have to do this, and I don't know if I have time. And you start to shut down on the conversation because you've already made an assumption and looped out into something. So you're refusing to set the future in motion without an intention to control, which is kind of like, I don't know what's going on, but I'm going to establish this, I'm going to think about it, and I'm going to manipulate it and imprint it and control it into my mindset so that when I'm doing that, it is under my guidance instead of allowing an open system to go, I don't know where it's going, but wherever it goes, I'm there and I'm going to watch it. So see, the closed loop is control, manipulation, imprinting, conditioning, and the open loop is to show up and say, surprise me. Take me someplace into the new frontier that I have not been before. So when we hold something open, we're receptive. We're curious. We don't take anything personal. Whatever they do, we go, wow, just look at them doing that. And to allow. So I want to give you an example of 2 situations, and they come from the parenting example, and you can put this into relationships at work or into relationships, your love relationships, right? So the first is what happens when you have a manipulative teen that wants something, and they come at mom, can I have $20? Can I go to the movies? Mom. What it is that you're receptive and you're like, okay, this evidently means a lot to this child, and it's going to be really interesting to see how they continue to amp it up or how they respect me. And when I say no, do they stomp off, and do I feel really bad about it? Or what happens when I have to negotiate this? Which is maybe not tonight, but another night, right? So we don't take it personal. Whatever they do, we anticipate that they may accelerate, they may name call, they may stomp, or they may promise something and then not deliver, right? So what we do is we understand that is possible, but it's not about us. It's about their inability to let go of something that's going on. The other example that I will use is that I had a client this week that talked about taking her grown son, and his new 9-month-old baby to the Museum of Fine Arts to see an exhibit. And she had a specific exercise in mind that she had done with an older grandchild, and she wanted to do it with her son. And so, they get to the museum and he's ready to put the baby in the stroller and kind of do this. I guess Mom and I are going to the museum and the baby will come along. And she's like, no. Let's take the baby, hold it in your arms, and let's go into the museum. And he's like, yeah, whatever, right? And they go into the museum, and she says, what I want you to do is I want you to watch the baby. Watch the baby's eyes. Watch the baby's attention. Be completely present with what's going on with the baby. And so as they would walk up or approach a part of the exhibit, especially the moving ones where the lights were going, right? The baby would lock on. And so he was watching his son, absorbing the whole picture, and he was noticing that his son was in complete attention, complete presence, taking it all in. And then when he sort of like looked away and then looked around for what's next, you follow where his eyes go and you take them to that next one. Now, this is what we do when we're an attentive person, is we don't have an agenda, like I'm going to see them, I want them to see this and this and this, and we have a half an hour to get in and out because he's 9 months old. What you do is you hold this baby and you watch the attention. They ended up spending an hour and 20 minutes inside the Fine Arts Museum, going from one place to another. Baby was in rapture, just looking at things and taking them in, and then sort of closing that off and then sort of leaning like, what's next? So they followed that the whole time. This is what presence looks like. This is what presence feels like. It's when there's when we interact with that person, we meet them where they are. We have no agenda. We take them where they need to go. And at the same time, it may look like we're going to start to wind down because we have, an hour until I have to get back. You can definitely establish boundaries in presence. It's just actually being so crystal clear with it that there's no doubt. So I have 5 tips for you on how this actually can work. So the first thing is to find an easy way to check in with your body. If you're going into a conversation, like for instance, before I start this video, what I do is I go, my feet are on the ground. I can feel my bottom on the seat. I can feel my back against the chair. I can feel my lungs opening and closing as I inhale and exhale. And I am completely in my body. I'm not bringing in the past and I'm not bringing in the future. I'm just holding this space. So you check in with your body and you get completely present in your body first. Second is to soften your systems. Soften your shoulders, soften your hands. Are your hands clenched? Loosen them up. Is your jaw clenched? Loosen your jaw. Do you have a mark up here in your forehead? Loosen it up. Start to go from tight and constricted, which is I don't know what's going on, I don't know if I know how to do this, to relaxed, and allow your mind to be receptive and open and responsive, right? So this is how we then do the relaxing part. Number 3 is listen with your ears, listen with your eyes, listen with your body. Sort of open up and listen on every facet that you can to the conversation. What do you notice? Pay attention to where the shifting is and the subtleties and what they're saying and what they're not saying. Because when you can sort of listen to them, like going back to the teen, there's obviously somebody somewhere that wants to go do this, and they are trying to talk me into giving my child is trying to talk me into giving them permission to go, and they're pushing and they're pushing and they're pushing because there's something else that they're holding on to. If I understand that, then I have a lot of compassion, like, you must be in a bind. You must really want to do this. How can we problem solve this together? So that you hold that boundary, but you're also holding something open to create something different, because you're listening and you're noticing not just what's going on in your body, but what's going on outside in the other person. Number 4, respond with open language. And then what do you want to do? And what would that look like? And, oh, wow, and what would you do if? And that sounds amazing. And so what you do is you open it up and you keep getting that other person to feel so comfortable with you that they keep telling you what they want, what they need. And then when you're partnering and you're directing them, which is maybe not tonight, but what do you think about this? It becomes less rigid and it becomes less closed. It ends up being an opening pathway, which is, wow, we discovered something else we could do when a friend puts pressure on a teen. And we don't, I want to get out of the bad mom spot, right? Okay. Number 5, when you hold a no, boundary, which is, I can't do that, whether it's with your partner, I don't feel like doing that tonight. Or with a teen, I can't do that. Or with a baby, hey, I'm, and with your partner, I'm taxed. I don't know if I can do this right now. What you do is you look for firm gentleness, ways to be able to say it where you're relaxed, your body's open, you're saying exactly what you want to say from presence, and you're offering a solution, not just a no. So whenever you point something out, if you look at, well, I was thinking about it and I was wondering if this would work or this would work instead. So what we do is we hold our system absolutely rock solid present. we know what our boundaries are, and we hold an open loop system. So this is sort of what I think is the most important part of how we're going to bend our knees and relax and respond to all of these changes that are going on, is to move inside and go to presence. If this is something that you want more assistance with, you can always call me for some coaching. You can get a hold of me on DeniseDryden.com, and you can go back and look at some of these other videos as well. Have a wonderful Sunday, and I will see you next week. You take care. Bye-bye.